Do we hear ourselves back? Yeah. Are you recording here? Okay. Well, thank you for coming, folks. My name is Carol Martesco. I will moderate this, and I encourage you, since there aren't that many of us here, if you have any questions, you can pose the questions in German. I can translate them. Ich spreche auch ab und zu Deutsch. Also wenn Sie irgendwelche Fragen haben, direkte Fragen an die Regisseurin Kelly Reichardt, dann kann ich sie übersetzen, falls ich es kann. This is Kelly Reichardt, who is the director and co-producer of the film Rivers of Grass. River of Grass. And I guess the thing that we might talk about a little bit is what makes a film independent, because I think a lot of people outside of the United States mostly think of films, or when they think of films coming from America, they think of big Hollywood films that have huge budgets, and there are a number of things that make a film independent. I think one of them is definitely the budget and the whole process of making the film. And maybe Kelly can tell us a little bit about her process of making this film, how she started making the film, when she started making the film, how long it took her from the time she wrote the script to actually complete the film, and where she got the money and things like that. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about that process, Kelly.
Okay.
And wenn jemand irgendwas übersetzt haben will, bitte einfach die Hand hochheben und ich werde es übersetzen.
Okay. The amount of time it took from beginning to end was about 4 years. I wrote the script and spent a lot of time with some producers who were going to make the film for much more money, $500,000, which would still be low budget, but would have been a lot more money than we made the film for. So after a long time of many months of this process, I realized that it would go on forever and that nobody would ever really put up the money to make this film until I made my first film myself. So we moved away from this idea. We went down to Florida, Miami, Florida, where the film was made, and set up shop in my parents' living room, me and one other person. And I had made music videos in the independent music scene, and through these bands and their managers and just people in the music industry and other filmmakers, everyone putting in small sums of money, like $1,000, $2,000, we got $35,000 to shoot the movie. So we rented one more house and filled it with crew people from New York who could work for free, that I had worked in the film industry, and pay back on some favors. So we all lived in one house, and another filmmaker became the lead actor, and an artist from New York became the lead actress, and we worked this way.
I think maybe I can add something. In America, we don't have really any subsidies like they have here in Austria. So it's always a tremendous struggle trying to get a small film, any film made for that matter, but we don't have government subsidies. We have a very, very few, which are from the National Endowment for the Arts and the National Endowment for the Humanities, which are very difficult to apply for and also not that easy to get. So it's always a matter of finding people who will work for free and asking your aunts and uncles and your dentists to invest in your film. And
I did, in fact, ask my dentist to invest in my film. Now I can't ever go back to the dentist. But
so what was your budget when you actually...
The people, I should say, I was spent 6 months with, that were going to make the movie for more money, the producer had always said to me, if you want to go on your own and do it another way, I'll give you whatever money you can raise, I'll double it. So I had this agreement that I raised $20,000 and then I'll have this other $20,000. So a week before we start shooting, this is sort of a typical maybe story of how film industry works. They send a contract for the money that says they own the film outright and they own my next film. So here we are a week from shooting. We've already flown everyone down. They're in my parents' house. And there's no turning back. So really, we scraped the money together as we were shooting. We shot in 19 days, and it was a little hellish. Also, just as far as financing, because I think you didn't probably see the film, but my film, on paper, it could be interpreted as maybe being a more commercial film than how it was going to end up and how I perceived it in my mind, the type of actors that I wanted and how I wanted it done. And this is another issue with raising money in the States. You know, you're going to have a star in your movie. Are you, I don't know what the unions are like here. And
They have the unions here as well,
yeah, acting, because nobody wants to put in money to a film without a star, but as soon as you have one name actress who's in the union, you quadruple your budget also. So
What was your final budget that you ended up, what did the film cost you to get in the can to finish?
38,000.
So about 380,000 shillings, roughly, is what her film cost to make, which I know that if you're familiar with the budgets here, they are significantly higher usually for the feature films.
Yes, 16.
What, did you blow it up eventually, or are you showing a 16 now?
We're showing 16 here, but it will be blown up.
And Kelly was just telling me before that the film print that's showing here at the Viennale is the same film print that's been going to all the other festivals.
It's pretty rough. I saw the film for the first time because it's been at these other festivals I haven't gone to, and it's very worn and torn, but I was trying to think of it in terms, as my father always says about his records, you know, that you have to learn to love the scratches. It becomes part of the part of the overall music.